Sealable has a good point. Is there a chance that that's another symptom of you being desynchronized from time-space continuum?
Oh, maybe.
This is becoming a theme, bro. This is becoming a theme. And whatever you have, you've given it to me because I just refreshed in my... You're desyncing me.
Every
like,
time
we're decohering.
every time I connect with somebody, I pull them into my slowly forming black hole.
That's what quantum entanglement is. Where it's spooky action at a distance. Einstein was talking about Jaeger's timers.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life. I would try to do the short version and the long version at the same time. That was super weird.
I'm telling you, dude, we're rolling with this, by the way.
Yeah,
Your fucking time-space continuum is out of whack.
Is it still out of sync?
Well, you were trying to do the long and the short version. There must have been some sort of time dilation.
Yeah, 100%.
There.
It was like a few months ago, split into our timeline, and I was trying to do both.
All you need to do is basically just roll it back in time, so that it can be like 1999 again, and then you'll understand the reference when I say, "Who else seen the leprechaun? Say yeah!" And then
I'll get it once I roll
then you'll
back.
have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my sister got me this shirt. I'll tell you about it because it's a classic YouTube. A YouTube classic, but basically it's about it's like a news video, like highlight. Well, not highlight, but like a news story that you think would be fake, but I'm fairly certain it's real. Where it's like a bunch of people are rolling through Mobile, Alabama, saying that they think a leprechaun is in there, and it's just a bunch of crazy ass motherfuckers. That's like, this one guy's like, I got a theory that the one limb of the tree is casting a shadow, and then it instantly cuts in the middle of his explanation. There's a woman in a car that's like, could be a crackhead, got hold of the wrong stuff, and then they show the official police sketch,
like sketch of
and this is the police sketch. And then the guy's like, another guy rolls up. He's like, he's holding like a spray painted brown PVC pipe, and he's like, this is an old Irish leprechaun flute, passed down from thousands of years through my, like, what the, and I can't fathom it. I can't fathom it.
Imagine, being the police officers having to like draw that, and they're like, oh yeah, it looks like he had a hat. He had a hat with a buckle on it, and they're like,
he's like, you ever seen Lucky Charms? yeah. Start with that. So anyway, this is the podcast. Talk about the poggers things in life. This is Jesse. This is Veritas. And what's up? What's going on, buddy?
Oh, nothing. Not much.
How's the turkey been?
Bro, this is like 2 solid weeks of every stream day just searching for my last 2 cap items. And I have not yet even had a raid where I found one and died with it. I have not seen them. Not once.
Have you been surviving at least? Or
Dude,
you just haven't?
I've made 10 million rubles these past 2 weeks.
I didn't want to hear that, bro.
Dude,
Come on.
I don't know, but definitely part of it's Bitcoin, but not even just that. Like, even, so a better thing to say is, yes, I've been surviving, because a lot of times, even if you survive thick, you just kind of break even with how much ammo you use and stuff like that. But I have been surviving. We've been rolling. So I need the Sheriff's Eli badge, and which is the most annoying one because it has very few like spawns. It's just like, check safe.
You should roll with me. Roll with me, and we'll go red. We'll go marked room. Or do you have?
Wait, marked room or red room?
I mean, sorry, red keycard room.
Bro, I don't have red keycard room. Dude, I have been trying to find somebody with the key. I'm down.
Let's go. Let's roll.
And the fire steel, which is
so what the fuck do the 7,000 fire steals?
I haven't seen one this entire wipe. Not a single one.
There's RBAM, which it's the first key that I'm just learning. I've learned. I know where it is. Do you have that key? There
is no spawn in Escape from Tarkov that I have not visited multiple times in the past 2 weeks.
So, but do you have the key?
One. Yeah.
Weird, because I go there. I went there and there were 2 fire steals, 3 raids in a row.
Oh yeah. There are 4 fire steel, like whatever loot table that's in, there are 4 of them in RBAM. And bro, this week has been, I have a pretty long fuse for stuff like this, but it's been a nightmare of like, I am farming, 301, West 301, because we've been going shoreline because like East 226 and stuff like that has a Sheriff's Eli badge spawn, and West 301 has a fire steel spawn. So it's like, you know what I mean? If you don't want to grind labs, at least you're going to a place that has both spawns. Dude, I'll spend a few hours there and somebody's like, legitimately 11 SR on interchange. I found a badge there, 11 raids in a row. It's just go there one time. And I'm like, okay, so we'll do 2 entire streams of interchange going to 11 SR, pro kill medallions all over the place, moonshine, nothing. And somebody's like, yo, I promise you first run on RBAM, you're going to find it. It's there at least 50% of the time. I'm like, no, it's not. And they're like, yes, it is. And I was like, okay. So we did an entire stream of reserve. And reserve, I hate reserve so much, dude. 30 raids in reserve. You only get to loot the room 10 times. But guess how many there were? 0, dude. And it's just a circle. And then when you're on reserve, somebody's like, yo, just check West 301. I found one there today. And it's like, I need you to shut up.
To shut the fuck up.
And then it's like, and then every once in a while, someone's like, go labs. And it's like, that is probably a good strategy because there's one on labs and the manager's office. But I just can't. Dude, reserve physically hurts me. It just
really
hurts me so bad.
I'm like, I've been kind of sort of converted from like I just like reserve because I feel like it has the best potential. If there's a ratio with 3 numbers in it, it's like being able to get to like at least one unlocked marked room to get something valuable. Yeah. And then also, and if not, then there's the fallback of PvP and or scav boss and or raiders. Sure. And then in both cases, no matter where you are, it's pretty quick to just get to the back, paracord exfil. So it's not like Shoreline where there's one place to go. There is no fucking PvE anywhere. Yeah. It's just going to be either PvE or nothing. Yeah. And then you have a coin flip between a shitty extract and an extremely shitty extract.
Yeah.
So
on paper, I don't know why I don't like reserve. Like on paper, reserve is amazing for exactly that. There's good loot everywhere. There's actually a ton of PvE everywhere. There's a ton of PvP everywhere. I would venture a guess that my survival rate is less than 10% on reserve. I just can't. It's if you either like, these are the 3 possibilities. I immediately die out of the spawn. Like I just lose that first fight in the first 30 seconds. I win the first fight and die to somebody else pushing in, or I win all of my PvP fights and just get one shot by Gluhar. Like the other day, it's in my highlight video. We spawned in and we were running we weren't even going for RBM at this point. We were running over there and it was 16-second raid. I fell over dead and I thought it was a player that sniped me out of a spawn. It was Gluhar. So we watched the tape back and like at the moment I was dead, like you just couldn't see him. He was just like around the corner and like the very first frame of my head that came, he was just like, ah, poof. And it was like, okay, like I want to love it so bad, but like, I just can't do it. But anyways, Tarkov has been rough. I've been having fun raids. We've been doing mostly shoreline because when I get to reserve, if I get to RBAM and it's not there, I don't feel like I'm enjoying the raids because I'm like, yeah. And then labs is the same. And so we've been doing a lot of shoreline because I like shoreline. And we've been having really good raids, getting into really good fights, making a ton of money. But it's been 2 solid weeks of trying to find these things. I haven't even seen one. Well, dude, last night we were in shoreline. We were moving from east to west wing. Dude got into a fight. Dude killed both of us. I was like, oh, yo, good fight. GG's. And like 7 seconds later, he had like TTV in his name, I think. Chat came in and they were like, he had a badge on him. And I was like, why would you tell me that? Yeah, he looted one in East Way. I was like, why would you tell me that? It was rough. But dude, it's been killing me. I've been trying to find some of the red key card. I can run it like 3 times, find both items that I need, and then just be done with it.
Oh my God, I just thought of something that would be, oh God, I don't even know if I want to say this because like I'm afraid somebody would do it or it would become like a meme. Like it's borderline like camping the fucking basement spawn in reserve like people were doing for like that 1 week after. I don't know if it was like General Sam put out a video. Somebody put out and everybody and I experienced it like once or twice and then after that it kind of like went away. But I just got an idea for something that I think would be fucking hilarious, but also terrible. I'm wondering if I should say it. Should I say it? I might as well just say it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's gonna. What I was thinking is, so if you have, it would be really unlucky, but it's kind of a Russian roulette sort of thing. Grab like a LEDX or something and take it in with you.
Mm-hmm.
Post up like on the rocks or something, like somewhere where you are pretty safe, and you have a vantage point on like. Just drop the LEDX in the middle of the ground but have a grenade launcher, because originally what I was thinking was just like hold in with a sniper rifle, but then you might miss and you're fucked, where you can't miss with a grenade launcher if you just have it aimed there. But because people have to pick it up and then move it to their gamma, that's plenty of time for you to go, like as soon as they bend over and go to click it, just thump, and then you kill them, and then you'd have to go like pick it up. But I feel like that would be fucking hilarious, because it's like, if you manage to get it, or you can kill me or whatever, and you get a fucking LEDX. Granted, it won't be found in raid, but
they won't. It's still something you put in your secure container as soon as you see it, even if it, you know what I mean? It's just
unless it's a hatchling with no backpack and their pockets are full, because then everything goes instantly right into their cap or whatever.
That's actually very true. Dude,
assholes.
The backpack drop, I've seen people do that where you just drop a backpack out in the open, and it's mind-blowing how many people will still loot it. It's like, it's so obviously bait, but it's like, ooh, what's in the backpack? Then it's just easy kill. I always
fucking loot that kind of shit, because like it's never really backfired that I can remember.
Yeah, that would happen so few and far between. If you're somebody that does that, you get lots of kills with it, because nobody sees that happen often. You know what I mean? It's just But yeah, so Tarkov's all right. I'm just getting killed on RNG, absolutely killed. But other than that, it's been okay.
Dude, if you want, we can do some runs. If you're going to be playing or streaming after this, we can do some runs. I can. I'll take you wherever you want to go,
bro. Sherpa me.
Maybe I'll make some money. Maybe you'll get a kappa.
Take me to the place, because
it's a fucking win-win.
I know that the manager's office has the badge spawn too. I don't know if those spawn in Red Room. I haven't been in Red Room in so long.
The manager spawn, in my experience, is riskier than.
So risky.
It's riskier. It depends. So the way that labs raids have been for me, literally 2 streams ago, the first like 4, and I think it was the time of day. I started a little bit earlier, so between like 11 a.m. and like 2 p.m. I think, even though like people aren't as, most people are still home. I think a lot of people are either working or doing school. I don't know what I don't even know what fucking month it is. If they're on vacation.
Is school happening?
I don't know. Yeah, I have no fucking idea. But it's just a lot quieter, especially if I will choose like Midwest servers at 11. That means it's like 8 a.m. Who the fuck, what kind of 16-year-old is playing on a weekday at 9 a.m. or whatever? So I went through labs, and it was like one or two players, totally not sus at all. Like the normal interaction where like, if I hear them and I'm not moving, they'll just like run by. And I kill them. What sucks is when like I'm in a spot, I'm waiting, and I hear the footsteps, and the footsteps all converge on me, and then people just like pre-fire and jump out, and it's like,
wait, what?
But even half the time, like if that happens and it's a standard account, that's when I'm like, okay, fucking sketchy. But half the time it's not a standard account, it's EOD, and then half the time they've got TV in their name, but they're like a Twitch account that has like 72 followers, but they have an account. It's like, but they streamed 20 days ago, and I'm like, is this like an elaborate fucking cover? Like,
dude, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird.
but yeah, so that day I went through and I just literally filled up the big giant backpack with every room's worth of, because I killed the one person, and then I was able to just farm the raiders and get out. I picked up the first raid of 2 days ago. Actually, I killed 4 raiders. They literally walked out and was like, kill, 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 kill. And 2 of them had on hex grids.
Oh, yep.
And it was like just grabbing all their guns and ammo, like MCXs and the fucking modded, not the ADAR, but the other one, the TX. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm out, And then yesterday, I played for 2.5 hours, didn't survive once. It was like, before I could even, like, a fight has you see one of you sees the other person. Then the engagement starts, and then it's either over like in the next step, or it goes on for a while, back and forth, and then it's over, and then there's like the loot period. None of them made it past the engagement beginning. Like, I'd see somebody and I go, brrr, and then they'd turn on me and I die, or I would die without seeing anything. It was yesterday felt like pre-getting Tarkoved netcode video when I was like, this feels fucking terrible again.
Yep.
And I did a couple of games with both with Fluven and with a few other folks that and even just paying attention to people moving, they're so jittery, dude.
Yeah.
Like the netcode is like I can't not see it now.
Yep.
It's every single person 100% of the time. It's terrible.
Yep.
It's terrible.
Yep. Especially if it's close quarters, man. Especially if it's, dude. Ugh. It's just, it's been feeling super rough lately, for sure. Which is why I stray away from normally like labs and reserve, because I just feel like another thing about reserve is just like I'm so uncomfortable underground, and the underground is like a great place to just like maneuver, and I just feel like I'm always getting caught. I am always getting the one that's caught off guard, and when I don't have the flick to like snap to him and kill him, because you know what I mean. It ends up in that weird network, netcode battle where I'm just like sweeping left and right while holding left click and just praying that one hits him in the face.
I mean, yeah, it all boils down to just that one fucking the clip that you threw in the middle of last week's video, where it's like the combination of people jittering around because of the netcode, strafing because of the broken movement with no inertia.
Yep.
And then there's the hit reg, aim punch, and the blur.
Yeah.
It's like fights just aren't fights. It's terrible. Anyway, and you know what? I want to shout out real quick. JLK. We talked about JLK.
Dude,
back when we were talking about. Actually, were you the one that told me
about
him?
I was like, you have to watch his videos.
So
JLK fan,
just rolled in a chat. This guy right down here. He's the one that was like, he was trying to convince me to get into DayZ, and I was like, dude, it's just like, I watch Smoke play, and I love watching Smoke play, but I'm watching for Smoke, not for the game.
Yeah.
And then you told me about his fucking epic videos. Dude. It was right after he posted the, like, we made $1 billion drug cartel,
dude, the
or
cartel
whatever.
one, yep.
And that was the first one I watched, and then I literally just watched everything, like the entire backlog, in like 4 days.
Yep.
And it just made me, it made me not only super appreciate that type of content, like the longer form storytelling content, which has inspired a lot of my content, but
his stuff actually makes me
DayZ.
Dream about what Tarkov content could be made if it was open world with VoIP.
If I ever get around to finishing that fucking video, maybe I'll do it between the speedrun stuff I'm doing. Yeah. But imagine if I make this video, Nikita like sees the vision. Imagine this perfect world. It's my dream, the utopia, where Nikita's like, wow, that's great. Let's go ahead and do that. It'll all go back to JLK and Tarkov, who's probably never played Tarkov.
It'll all go back.
He's better for it.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, Tarkov has been kind of just same. I don't know. We've got
I will say money, for some reason, like, as bad as it is and as expensive as like fuel is and everything, there's the Bitcoin prices. Like, I wonder if Bitcoin has gone up.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like fuel has gone up disproportionately, right? Like Bitcoin only went up like what, 50%, 300 or 400K to like 600K or something. But fuel went up from like 30K to like 600K, right? Like,
yeah. And I think that disproportionately did because it wasn't like a lot of things have inflated because Bitcoin inflated, but as fuel was inflating, they reduced the spawn of it. So it became like it just was subject to just like economy inflation. And then the spawns were reduced by, I don't know what percentage. I swear to God, I haven't found a spawn of fuel since they made that change. I found 2 canisters on bodies. I have not found
one.
a static spawn of fuel since they made that change. Now, I am blessed that I sit at my computer all day to make like Tarkov videos. So what I do is I wake up, I open Tarkov to like collect insurance and get my Bitcoin and stuff. I go to Jaeger, I see how long he has until reset, and then I'll just set a timer on my phone and I'll snag a fuel. And then
dude, even after the reset, I can't even buy.
And then, well, we need to get to that actually. And then one fuel would last me 53 hours. So if I remember to do it the next day, I've got a nice leeway. If I don't, I can just do it the next day. So I still get them at 140K. Here's the deal. I actually don't know if this is intentional or not. I have no idea what the hell is up with the Jaeger. When it gets down to 2 minutes left on the Jaeger counter, this is a tip for everybody.
Does it reset early?
If you're struggling, hit the refresh button every time you can. And the time left will go from 2 minutes to 4 minutes to 1 minute to 3 minutes to 30 seconds to 1 minute. And then you do it again and it'll display 3 minutes left on the timer, but the fuel will be up and then you can buy it. Like, I don't know if that's like an anti-RMT thing where they actually like mess with you so that it's not as bottable. But
you mean the timer's a lie?
Yes. It's like within a margin. And when you get below the 2 minute mark, you just have to spam the refresh until it's up. Because I did this the other day. Well, actually, I do it all the time now. I do it every single day. And if you get it,
and it went from 23 minutes to 24 and a half.
Dude, and if you get the fuel, you can sit there and watch it and refresh, and the fuel is actually available for like 30 to 45 seconds. It's a very you can get fuel. It's just that if you're going off the timer, it will lie to you. You'll get down to the 10-second mark and refresh it. It's sold out, and he's back to an hour 30 reset. At the 2 minute mark, you have to start just spamming that just until it's crazy. I have no idea, but it's super frustrating because if you are just you're like, oh, he has a few minutes left and you're talking to chat or you're doing some stuff, you come back, you have 15 seconds left, you're like, sweet, you refresh, it's all sold out and he's reset and you never even saw it. It's so weird.
Sealable has a good point. Is there a chance that that's another symptom of you being desynchronized from time-space continuum?
Oh, maybe.
This is becoming a theme, bro. This is becoming a theme. And whatever you have, you've given it to me because I just refreshed in my... You're desyncing me.
Every time I connect with somebody, I pull them into my slowly forming black hole.
That's what quantum entanglement is. Where it's spooky action at a distance. Einstein was talking about Jaeger's timers. It was a teaser for the cultists.
Yeah, 100%. But it's crazy. So the fuel is nuts. So you can't find fuel in Raid. You can't buy it on the flea market unless you're willing to trade one of your Bitcoins for it. And you can't get it from Jaeger because it's nonsense. And then pineapple juice is 100K on the flea market right now because you can trade 4 pineapple juice and a super water at a therapist.
You know how bad it feels when yesterday I had no health. I was looking around reserve. Dude, I was literally 0 health I ended up dying anyway to gunshots to some rando slow walking on stairs again in reserve. But yeah, it was I'm I'm gonna die. Yeah. Someone was like, dude, don't drink that. It's I'm like, I'm wearing 1 million rubles in shit. Yeah. And I have a backpack full of gear. If I die, it's like I'm trading not living with something that I couldn't sell anyway that has value. Fuck that.
It's crazy. I got in my scav case with the moonshine, I got one of the blue fuel tanks and I just immediately sold it. 450,000 rubles for the small blue ones. It's crazy.
Now, after you use them, do they lose the found in raid tag? I feel like that's new because
I don't think so.
They don't? What?
No, because I've seen it. You can buy zeroed out ones to then craft, and the only way that you could buy
that is true.
Zeroed out ones is if they retain the found in raid, unless it's as of yesterday or something.
Unless they were old ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't.
Yeah,
well, I mean, I don't know where I got this from, but it's empty and I can't sell it. I probably paid 600K for it on the fucking market.
Yeah, or if you found a blue one and threw it in your kappa and then died with it, you know what I mean? And then tossed it in the thing once it was over, wouldn't have it. So, but yeah, but you can. I don't think they go for much. I just normally end up craft and stuff. I craft grenade cases with the big ones and mag cases with the small ones. But yeah, dude, the fuel has been rough. The economy as a whole is just insane. I have almost 30 million rubles and I did not earn any of it.
I mean, I've been losing like very, very badly. And I lost and yesterday I started the stream with 6 million. I ended the stream with less than 1 million. And then I did that one raid where I just died.
Yeah.
But like collecting insurance, collecting my Bitcoins, selling a few of those like GPX or what the
VPX.
The VPXs and everything, and I had 5.1 million.
Yeah.
I didn't play for a day.
Yeah.
And I just came up with 5 million from some like scav junk box shit and whatever.
And I mean, 3 Bitcoin is 2.8 million because they're over 700K.
Yeah, and I just got solar panels. I got solar panels, and then now I'm upgrading the Bitcoin farm.
Yeah.
I now forget. Have you done an analysis on the Bitcoin farm? Like, is it worth totally filling up level 3 now, or does it take?
If you cross the you're getting more than 3 in a day threshold at like 40 GPUs. So it's like more worth getting level 3 now, because in the past that 25 mark was like the sweet spot. But now if you want to make 3, you got to get up to about 39 or 40. So it's pretty worth, like, that actually doesn't, I like the slow timer because it actually does incentivize you to going to level 3 if you want to, which is a time sink and a money sink. That 40 to 50 GPUs is just, you can maybe collect half of an extra one in a day or whatever.
And they're 1.3 million. God damn it. So this is
so
it 50 fill? 50 so I'm going to need to get 50 million. Just when I fucking thought, dude, that I was like,
how many
now
GPUs do you have?
I have 14 now,
okay.
But I used to be full at 25, but I had to sell them all to afford solar panels.
Ah, yes.
Because I had to buy the fucking ASCAs or whatever.
Oh. Yeah, that's rough. Dude, you see Queen FPS? She posted that out of her scav junk box, it was like a moonshine or an 85K. She got an ASA and a GPU. I was like, oh, that's so much money.
Fucking streamer loot, dude. Like what Twitch server do I have to connect to get that sort of fucking RNG?
Unreal. But that's a positive of just spamming down Shoreline recently. Like when I've been looking for these items, I've found like 5 GPUs. And then you just, what's so great about GPUs and Tetrises is you just throw them in the container and it doesn't matter. If I die with it, I'm just throwing it in the Bitcoin farm anyway. If I die with the Tetris, it's a Bitcoin anyway. And bada bing, bada boom. It's so nice. You can throw in your container, just keep fighting, keep playing, keep pushing PvP. You know what I mean? It's just like, it feels good. LEDXs are worth like 700K now. Like it used to be like 1.2, 1.3 million. As soon as you find one, you're tempted to get out. But nowadays it's like throw it in the container, and the difference.
Well, now, where was their value from before? Was it for like the thick item case?
Mm-hmm. But that trade is still there.
It's 20 million rubles.
I don't know
to buy one now.
I don't know if they adjusted the price or the amount of LEDXs, so maybe less people are interested because you need more. Or
15 defibs, 15 LEDXs, 15 ibuprofen, 15 toothpaste. I have a feeling that, like, I don't know, if it's almost like if they're hard. I don't know, this is an interesting thing, but I wonder, like, if all of the components together are rarer and harder to find, and like it almost and that's the only thing that like LEDX is used for.
Yeah.
It almost, as you reduce the supply, the price will go up to a point that once it becomes like annoying to get 15 defibs and 15, then it's like nobody wants to do the trade anymore. So now there's no reason to use a LEDX, so nobody cares. And maybe that's like,
Chad has a really good point that the therapist quest now requires 1 found in raid, and it used to just require 3. So in past wipes, you could buy all 3 off the flea market. So that's a huge reason. So now it's found in raid. Instead of most players spending the money on 3, nobody's spending any money because you have to either craft it or find it. So that's true. That's a huge reason why their values dropped. But they're 750K on the market. I don't know what the fee is to list them. I'm assuming it's at least 50K. And Therapist will buy them from you for 300K. So that delta,
I've got 2 LEDXs.
That delta is a lot less than it used to be. You know what I mean? It used to be the difference between 300K and 1.3 mil, but now it's like, I'll stay in the raid, just throw it in the container.
Yeah, I can't even try to put them up for sale to see what the fee is, because I've got two LEDXs and one defib that I died with.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't even know. Do I hold on to them until I find 14 more defibs and 13 more LEDXs?
This early in the wipe, I'll hold on to my non-found in raid ones, because if I end up with 15, I'll just buy out everything else from the flea market and then sell my thick items case for 12 million. You know what I mean? I'll end up spending 5 million on the one for the barter, sell mine for 20 million and take that profit. But
that's not a fucking bad idea. I wonder how much it would cost. Someone do the math to figure out. Tell me how much I would need.
Just to buy.
How much is it total to buy 13 LEDXs and 14 defibs, and then the fucking 15 toothpaste and whatever the other thing is? Tell me how much it would cost to buy, and if that number comes out to less than whatever a
20
thick
million
item case is selling
fee.
for, then I'll do that.
So I'm going to keep mine, because even if you get up to like the 8 to 10 LEDX mark and you're just tired of them taking up space in your med case, you can just be like, oh, well, I'm close enough to buy everything and make it profitable, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody said like 13 mil.
13 mil, and then it's probably literally 6.999 million to list on the flea. Fucking game, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've been finding a bunch of key tools and docs cases lately, and
where?
In marked rooms on reserve. But now it's weird, because now I die with them. I have 2 extra key bars and 2 extra docs cases, and it's like I feel like they're not worth selling for 200K to the trader, because they're so rare, but I have no fucking use for them. I literally have I just hold extra keys that I don't even need. I'm holding onto the keys just to justify having the cases.
Yeah. I haven't hit a marked room. I have gotten so burned on the marked rooms on reserve. So burned. Maybe they've changed it. I don't know. Maybe I just bad RNG. I don't even have those keys. If I started playing reserve, if I started playing reserve more, then maybe, but because there's 3 now, right? There's one underground, a marked room.
Dude, I don't know. There's like 17 fucking marked rooms all over the place. I don't know. Yeah. I have there's a million rooms I never went to, and then over time I've either found keys, and I'm usually like, chat, what's RBXQR? I never know what anything is. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, randomly, I'm walking by a door, and I look at the door and I see unlock, and I'm like, oh, I thought this was a closet, and I open it up, and it's like a marked room. It's like, oh fuck!
Wait a minute.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's not a bad idea if I'm going to be doing more reserve at all for farming these items, to grab those marked keys, because technically a fire steel or a badge could spawn in a marked room too. I've just been legitimately spamming RBAM.
The BK and the VO, they're 60K. They're like the factory keys. Yeah. They're not expensive. Yeah, 60K, 63K. And I've got extra ones. I can drop you one.
I should do that.
I've got multiple, actually. I'll give you a VO. And I think I might have an extra. I don't have an extra BK, because I do have an extra BK, but my current BK has 2 uses on it. You're going to have to drop the 60,000.
No worries. Yeah. I don't know. Please, Nikita.
We'll have to follow up on all this next week after to see if we were successful. Find out next week. Me and Jesse are completely fucking. It's either going to be like, yes, we found it so early, or it's going to be like, dude, I got to go to bed. It's late. I'm fucking sorry you didn't find it. Maybe tomorrow, dude. Good luck.
Dude, I've been playing with Sealable nonstop, and every day.
He's bad luck though.
Every day he's like, all right, we're gonna find something, and then every day he's like, oh well, we had good raids. Sorry you didn't find anything.
There's like a yin and a yang. The thing is that Canadians, because they're so nice and easy to love, the trade-off there is to balance the RPG, the class of Canadian, they have terrible luck.
Luck minus 12.
Yeah. There's only so many points, and the Canadians didn't get. It wasn't allocated. Oh my God! Speaking of, I wanted to do this with Tarkov, but I told you about the McElroy brothers and how they at one point they still do a series called Monster Factory.
Oh,
where they go and they make. One of the things that they did was a version of Dark Souls that had been modified to where all of the text in the game got put through Google Translate and then Google Translate and then Google over and over and over again. So all the at one point the menu selection was gender, and it was women or Canada. and there was like every time they wanted to take a potion, it just said coach, coach, coach.
Oh my gosh,
dude, it was fucking hilarious, dude. It was so funny, and I want to do that with Tarkov, because taking the shitty English and then making it would be gold.
Actually incredible. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Right before Tarkov wiped, I thought we had months until Tarkov wiped. So I bought some flight sticks for Star Citizen. I want to map them to Tarkov and play raids on my flight sticks.
People have been joking, saying that I should play on a Guitar Hero controller.
You should, bro. That would be such great content.
I have a keytar.
Oh, even better, actually.
Maybe I'll try it.
Even better. But yeah, I don't know. It's been, fuel scarcity. The network has been feeling, same. It's crazy. Like, my raids are either like pretty okay with netcode, or like I'm disconnecting 4 times. Like we got into a raid the other day and it was like 93% packet loss. We spawned into the raid and just ran right to Rock Passage and extracted. It was like, no way. Like, screw that. Like, I've got a 1,000,000 ruble kit on me. I'm not subjecting it to 92% packet loss. We get into the next raid, perfectly fine. Same servers. It's weird. Obviously not same server, but like the same ones were selected. You know what I mean? So.
See, now that's something where I would think that maybe it's either like infrastructure or hardware, or it could be ISP stuff or whatever. But like, when people always talk about upgrade your servers, I'm always like, the netcode isn't the servers. It's different.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why you'd think that like the hardware is the problem when you see these weird freezes and stuff. But when you see packet loss like that, because a few days ago I had the same thing. I've literally never seen packet loss in 3 years of playing Tarkov, and then all of a sudden a couple days ago I was at 70, 80, 90, 70, 60, 80, 90. So yeah, that seems to me like hardware, not software.
Yeah. Yep. And then the sound has just been. We were talking a little bit before the show. It feels like the sound is getting worse. I know that's not like, I don't think it is. Sometimes it just feels like it is. Like, I guess
because of the inconsistency.
Yeah, and I guess
we got used to it being bad, so we're expecting to like I died earlier because I heard the sound clearly, and I said, if I hear it clearly, that means he couldn't be in the stairwell. Way. So he must be in for. Oh, he's in the stairwell, and I'm dead.
Yeah, it feels like vertical has been getting. Yeah, I feel like it used to be if you were on the second floor of Shoreline, and you heard somebody. You know how like when somebody's above you, it makes a different noise, like it's more muffled? And I feel like it used to be, you're getting the muffled sound, but I can't tell if it's above me or below me. And recently, I feel like I've been getting he's actually right behind me sound. The same audio as he's been on my floor, and I turn around and no one's there, and he was above me. And that's been throwing me off because it's like the same floor sound, or certain things peek through. This is always a weird one. Certain sounds will peek through with no audio change, and then other ones won't, i.e. keys. Like if you're directly below someone, there is no modifier to that sound with the key, but the footstep modifier will happen. So the other night we were playing, and we were just 2-man full sprinting from admin to East Wing, just, stampede, and we heard a key right above us. And we were like, oh, he's 205. We ran up, the dude killed us both. And I was like, there's no way that key wasn't bait. Like, you know what I mean? He heard us coming. There's no way that key wasn't bait. And the dude came into chat later and he was like, yo, GG's. And I was like, bro, that was 900 IQ of you to open that door and bait us in. And he was like, I had no idea you guys were there. Until you came all the way up the staircase, I had no idea you guys were there. And I was like,
I'm so glad you said that, because I was going to be skeptical, because people in chat are always like, dude, fucking 900 IQ bait on that guy. Yeah. He was holding his laser on the wall knowing that his friend was going to flank around. I'm like, that was fucking an accident, dude. Like, and that was not, nobody does that kind of shit, because it almost never works.
But that's what I'm saying, is that it's crazy that the audio of came through the floor. I mean, it's a key, you know what I mean? It's just like that came through crystal clear, but two guys with 60 kilograms of loot on them were barreling down the hallway, and he was like, oh, I had no idea you guys were there. And I'm just like, what? Like the audio,
because it's the difference between ambient audio, well, not ambient audio, but like environmental audio.
Yeah.
I wonder if the key sound is classed as the same as like the wind and the birds.
Yep, and not like a player generated noise.
Because the player generated noises, I'm sure they're like, oh, okay, footsteps and stuff. We have to occlude that and do whatever jankiness.
Probably a really good point. It's just, it hurts. It's sad. So yeah, I don't actually think it's getting worse. Just sometimes you're like, you get a bad day of it, and where you have to like, you just get into 5 or 6 situations in a row where you really, really need the audio, and then you just can't do anything with it, and it's just rough.
Mm-hmm. Feels bad,
boy. Sad boy. Everybody, so you threw in the notes and the whole next button bug. That's literally happened to me once ever. It's like,
well, good for fucking
I
you.
know people are like, dude, people are struggling with it, and I legitimately only had it one time.
So what they did is they patched it, but how do I explain it? Imagine if there was an issue, like someone reported an issue saying, hey, the lock in this door is fucking jammed, right? I cannot unlock the door and open it. So they go, okay, we'll fix it. And they fix the lock, but the door is still stuck. They're like, what do you mean we fixed the lock? That's what the issue is now. Because now I can get all the way to the health screen, but now I see like data/UI/health_ whatever. All the text up top is Russian, and I can't fucking go anywhere.
Nice.
And then after a while, a pop-up comes up. Have you seen this before? A pop-up comes up that says, would you like to like wait and heal and shit after we retry some things, or would you like to continue to the main menu?
What?
And it says yes. It says yes and no. And you're like, do you want A or B? Yes or no?
Yes or no? Wait. Dude, what the heck?
I was like, literally, this is personal. Like, Nikita put this in here just because he knew how much that would fucking destroy my soul. I'm like, oh, they didn't fix the thing I've been complaining about for so long, and then they threw a big UX middle finger in here. Oh.
That I have never. That's mind-blowing. Do you want to do this, or do you want to do this? Yes or no? Yes. Did you see the two things. Did you see the ergo bug that was only in it for a few hours? Okay, so with the patch with 12.9.2,
I forgot this is an audio medium, so I shouldn't probably shake my head no. I should say the word no.
No.
One day we'll become podcasters. Don't worry.
That's episode 100 stuff. You know what I mean? I'm
gonna learn sign language for the podcast. You're sick.
So they did the patch, and for like 2 hours, they made ergo completely dependent on the weight of the gun, or they messed with the scale of it. It was so broken. So pistols, if you would right click with them, you would be
dislocate your shoulders.
Yeah, it would be ADS faster than the animation of the human could. It was one frame. It would go gunk. It was just like instant ADS. And then if you put like an extended mag in it, it would be 3 times slower. Like that much weight affected it. So like SA-58s for like an hour were like.
Now I did experience that, I think.
Like, and it was like,
I was doing a few runs while I was editing off stream, and I do remember like had a meta fucking SA that I picked up some dude I killed in labs, and I just remember being like,
dude,
fuck.
Yeah.
And then it seems like the weight, something about either ergo or weight or whatever has changed at least in the last week or something like that, where like yesterday the one raid I made it out of was fully kitted and picked up everything I could and on labs, and it was as if I had a 600-pound man on my back.
Yeah.
Like my skinny leg manlet body. Like it was like
yeah.
It was so funny how awkwardly my guy was moving.
It was crazy. Oh, and have you seen the bug where you're moving that slow, but your character's feet run speed hasn't changed. So you're like, you're just moving super slow. That's hilarious. But yeah, they messed with the ergo, and it was like crazy for like a few hours. Now I like the idea. Did you get fuel?
I just bought fuel. I got fuel. Thank you so fucking much. Whoever just said fuel reset. Yo, you're the fucking MVP. Thanks, homie.
Fuel obtained. But yeah, the ergo thing was super weird. And then have you seen the sniper scav stuff that's going around?
I saw them in the patch notes on Twitter, but
yeah, sniper scavs were like non-existent. So, like this is honestly like 2 weeks ago. They tweeted out, they were like, we're testing out, we've applied the scav logic from interchange to customs. So we're gonna see
Shoreline.
2 weeks ago they did customs.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, we're doing customs, we're gonna see how it is. And that day, one of my mods was like, yo, I need to kill these dang sniper scavs. I haven't seen one all day on customs. And then we put it together. It was like, wait, interchange doesn't have a sniper scav. So they literally just copied and pasted. And for 2 weeks, no sniper scavs were spawning on customs. Nobody was talking about it. And then like 2 or 3 days ago, they did that same tweet and they were like, it worked well with customs. We're doing it on Shoreline. And so now there was like nowhere in Tarkov to get a sniper scav. And then finally it got bumped up and they were like, oh, and they fixed it. And then somebody was telling me, Lennon was telling me that they like overcorrected. And I haven't seen the clip, but there's a clip going around of 3 sniper scavs on the warehouse and customs, just like
that's
laser
sick,
beaming SVDs at people. And
dude,
so
that's actually sick.
I mean,
I'd be fine
it
with
would be
that.
cool, but like, they just, that type of oversight where it's just like copy, control C, control V. What could go wrong? And there's no sniper scavs on interchange.
Dude, that's one of those things that like it is a perfect example of how having some sort of, I mean, that wouldn't be something that you'd want to manually test because it's on like such a secondary, tertiary tier of things where like, can I move my character? Can I reload? Can I shoot? You know, like the basic stuff. To where you would put that in like a unit test suite. So whenever you make changes, you check your code in. So you, when you're writing software, you like branch off of the main code base, which is like what is actually deployed to the live production servers. When you branch, what you do is you're just taking a copy of it. Imagine like taking a copy of a Word document. Yeah. You work off it offline, and then later other people are working off it potentially, but then later you basically have to go through and it's
add all the changes.
You see a diff. It says this block is going to be replaced with this paragraph. This paragraph has been deleted, you know. So then that has people that code review stuff. So before it gets merged, you have people that look at it that say, you know, this is good, this is good, this is good before it gets merged. And then after that, typically what you'll have, if you have some sort of what's called continuous integration, once the code is merged, then usually what'll happen is some server, some computer, usually in the cloud, sometimes locally hosted, will spin up a bunch of tests. So it'll go through, it'll grab the current code and it'll say, I expect to be able to execute all of these things. And that would be a perfect test case where it's like, make sure that there's always sniper scavs on these 4 maps. Make sure there's always that Killa is on this map and nowhere else. Make sure that glue car is on this map and nobody else. Make sure, you know what I mean? Like
that would have been a hilarious bug if Killa started showing up on customs when they did that. Oh, that would have been
everybody
so
was
funny.
Killa. Everyone was Killa.
Oh my god, bro! I'd love that. That'd be like a pre-wipe event.
Imagine opening up the fucking customs dorms and you just see 3 Killas standing there, like,
dude,
they all fucking
you're dead,
slide.
Bro. You're dead. Yeah, but so that was a funny thing where there was no sniper scavs and then there were many sniper scavs, and it's just, dude, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean that's what's been going on in Tarkov land. I don't know. There was the patch. There was like a small patch. I don't really know.
Nothing. They did
nothing
mention
like
netcode.
Crazy.
They mentioned some like netcode fixes, and it was like, okay, cool. Everything's literally worse than it's ever been.
Yeah, they mentioned something about like version 2 or like implementation 2. Like, I don't know. I just remember reading it being like, oh, like, I wonder if this is going to be like a significant change. But yeah, it wasn't.
But not that I could notice.
Yeah, I don't know. I was running around Shoreline just to test out. Oof. 120 frames per second feels good. Now that I got the 3090 installed, I've never seen that in Tarkov ever, except for like factory.
Dude, I actually have the. I totally forgot. I was testing out a few things. Somebody sent me a message. It's really cool to get these messages where someone's like, "Yo, I'm sending you this message," and it was like my business email. It's because I think you're the only one, that can like articulate this. And I won't get into many details because I haven't done consistent enough testing. But the initial testing I did was promising. Where normally I was around somewhere between like 90 and 110 frames on most maps that I play on. So there's potentially a fix that involves a couple of settings in Windows, and this is something that there's been a lot of these types of things that have gone around. But this thing that I just recently heard about, it basically has to do with like games and if they're running in true full screen mode or not. He sent me a blog post that was written by someone who literally like worked on the Windows like that whole optimization stuff, and this woman posted this whole thing. So I'm gonna test it out some more, but the first day that I was paying attention to it, I was saying I'm hoping to get higher than 110-ish on average, and the whole first like 2 raids I was between like 130 and 100. So, and again, the frames are too hard to nail down because they can sway so much. So I want to take a few days to look at this and see if it makes a difference. But if it does, then I'll probably make a video on it.
Yeah, seriously, that's super interesting. Yeah, I feel like there's just so many things that go around Windows optimizations. I don't know enough about any of it to like.
So much of it is bullshit.
Yeah,
it
and
seems like to me.
NVIDIA control panel and just like I don't know, man.
I'm still so suspect with the whole like go to the INI file. It's like such a meme,
dude. Yeah,
where it's like make your resolution this weird thing and blah, and a bunch of people swear by it, and like it could very well be true, but it reminds me so much of the face shield repair controversy. Where the dude was like, do these 700 steps and then hit the repair button, and your face shield will be repaired. And it's like, or you can not do any of the 700 steps and hit the repair button, and your face shield will be repaired.
Yep.
The difference when you tested it before and when you tested it after is that you tested one offline. in the hideout, and then after you did the magic fucking voodoo doll dance, then you went into a real raid.
Yep.
It's like that's not how you fucking test things, and there's still people that don't understand that. But I feel like they're like, go and change this resolution and do this and override this other setting and then turn on VSync.
Yeah.
And play in full screen. It's like, I mean, I don't have capped frames and I just turned on VSync.
Yeah.
So this whole like 1920 by 1079 bullshit or whatever like doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. And I don't know. I've been playing it at 60 FPS and it's fine. I mean, I'm excited for more, but it's like, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal.
It is what it is, yeah.
It is what it is. But I know last week we really wanted to talk about this speed running, and you were saying you were telling me that you've got your run from over an hour down to like less than half an hour, which is an insane improvement.
So this is going to be day 11.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started on the 7th. Well, that's when I did my first playing.
Yeah.
Which doesn't even count in my opinion, because first of all, I was playing through my capture card. So like most speedrunners, when they play consoles, they actually play like on CRT TVs because there's like no lag whatsoever. Yeah. I don't notice with modern displays any sort of lag or whatever, but I did notice it because I was running like passed through my capture card.
Yeah.
And was still getting used to the Nintendo 64 controller, so everything was like 500 milliseconds behind.
Oh.
So like Ocarina of Time movement is so janky when everything relies on frame perfect timing, and you have to wait 500 milliseconds before anything happens.
That's rough.
So yeah, but the 7th was the first day I played it, and then what is it? This 18th. Yeah. 18th, so it's been 11 days, and for the first like 5 or 6 days, the route has 10 splits, 10 sections.
Okay.
Each of them being somewhere between 1 or 2 minutes or whatever. Ultimately culminating in my goal is I was able to find the most like closest. It's like 600th on the leaderboards, but it's the only person that's not running on Virtual Console. They're running on like a Nintendo 64, and they're not like a god speedrunner. They're just like, you know, whatever. And they did the good cool strats that are like hard, but they messed up a couple of them. Like it wasn't a perfect run. So, and it was 24 minutes and 58 seconds. So I was like, boom, I'll just use this. Sub 25 minutes is going to be like my goal like, that I'll finish this whole thing with. The world record is like 17 minutes or something. But yeah, so I've just been grinding that, and it went from the first 5 days was like I could only get to the halfway through, and then I had no idea. I literally just never watched the rest of the tutorial because it's a fucking like hour long. Every step of the way is like do this special pixel perfect bullshit, and then also if that fails, you have to learn this backup. That is another setup where you look at this thing and it's insane. But last night I ended up I finished 4 runs, which was the first time I was able to finish 4 runs. And I finished them all. One was 30 minutes and like something seconds, and then the rest of them were all 29. So 29, 30. But then also, now that's with me like having to save state because I'm using what's called an EverDrive. So an EverDrive is like an N64 cartridge, but it takes an SD card.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I'm running a practice hack of Ocarina of Time that first of all is in Japanese because the Japanese text scrolls faster because it's less characters.
I've heard that.
But also I can like bring up menus and I can be like pause the game, like pause it and go frame by frame. I can save state anywhere. So if I like fuck up a trick, I don't have to spend an hour getting back to the thing. I can just that's the best part is that like you can practice something 100 times over and over to really get your muscle memory down. Because otherwise, like if you have to kill the boss and the setup really relies on like something going right, once you fuck up, you can't restart it. Yep. And if you do, you could like maybe save and quit and start the game over, but it would start you all the way back at the beginning of like the dungeon, which it just takes so much time, you know?
Yeah.
So this has been super helpful. And I've got a Japanese version of Ocarina of Time coming probably by the weekend. And then by then I'm going to actually start doing full runs where no save states, nothing like that. And I'm going to try and get sub 25. But I will say that last night, and this is the most buck wild thing, dude, because I have my splits UI that shows all the splits and everything, which is all the times of each of the segments.
Yeah.
And then, I wanted to put a few different things, like this is my personal best. And then there's a lot of things I'm learning, like that are useful metrics for tracking, because I'm like a fucking analytics guy, and all speedrunning is literally optimization. Yeah. So there's a sum of best. So if you have 10 sections, each individual section, you can do better. So basically, like imagine if you do a run and you do the first 2 sections amazingly well, and then everything after that you fuck up. Yeah. Okay, and then maybe the next time you do it, the first 2 sections suck, but then the next 2 are amazing. Yep. So what sum of best is like the theoretical, all of your best ones put together.
Personal best. Yeah.
And right now my sum of best is, and I still have a bunch of retries and fuck ups and stuff, and my sum of best is 22 minutes and 8 seconds.
Dude.
And I just learned a trick that was like one of the most epic tricks that they discovered that like totally broke the game. That they've since surpassed it by finding other tricks, but I'm doing kind of like the slightly less newbie but not epic uber skilled version. It's called Void Warp, which did you play Ocarina of Time?
I mean, yeah, like as a kid.
You know, like at the end there's like the tower collapse where you're like running around the end after you kill Ganon, and Zelda's following you. It takes like 2.5 minutes. And the frame rate, dude, it's like Tarkov. The frame rate's just like dead because it's just like there's balls of fire falling, and the worst part too is that because of this emulator, the ROM that I'm using, if you hit any of the rocks that are on the ground with the fire, it instantly locks the game up. So you have to restart, which means the run's over. So you can't during a run. It sucks because you take damage, but at least you just don't get hit. And that's a lot easier not to get hit than it is to not touch a pixel of fire because the game just freezes.
Yikes.
But so what this trick is called Void Warp. So you're running on the outside, and before, the way it works is like it's a spiral staircase all the way around. Okay. And you go like spiral down and you go into the door. And then there's like a room that you have to like fight somebody in, and then go through the door, spiral staircase down again. There's like 5 rooms, and it's super laggy. What Void Warp does is you, when the rocks that are coming down, what you can do is if you roll into the rock with your joystick at this fucking perfect position, that's like, if your joystick can go from 0 to 100%, it's like it needs to be between 3 and 8%. Otherwise,
my gosh,
it's ridiculous. It's the smallest little thing. So if you roll into a rock at the perfect time and you're holding this position, and then you can actually like frame perfect by pause buffering. And what pause buffering is you like hit start, which brings up the menu, and then you hit start again, which there's a little bit of a delay before like the game takes over. But you can also, if you're spamming start, you can actually like it'll pause and unpause without actually progressing a frame. So if you need to line something up perfectly, you can like pause and unpause a bunch to try to get that perfect thing.
My gosh.
And there's a split second of being able to see. So like you have to look for it. You roll into this thing and Link hits the rock and you see him like his body is in a very specific position. And then you frame buffer 1 frame more. And then all of a sudden he's standing up and he's like a foot ahead of where he is. And then when you unpause, if you hold like Z target and the shield, you do what's called a hyperextended super slide, which is a Hess, and you go flying backwards at 4 times the speed. And what you could do is you can like basically moonwalk around, and you use the targeting of Zelda to like almost like a lasso, right? Like if you were spinning around and you like lasso it on, it turns you around and you clip through the corner of the barrier and you fall down outside of the tower, and you can skip the entire collapse, and that saves like 2 minutes,
bro.
So if I can get a run together, that's a good one, and pull that trick off, I could get sub 20, which it's ambitious. It's probably not going to happen, but that would be my fucking dream.
Dude, how do people figure that stuff out? That's insane. I mean, I could explain how they figure a lot of the things out.
Well, yeah,
but it's just crazy to think about that, to think about like how much trial and error goes into that. And then like the fact that is like an not outdated, but like that they've surpassed that is just, that's mind blowing to me.
Yeah. So now what they do is, I don't remember exactly the first part of when they found it, but the way it used to work is, you do what's called insta-clip. And it was the same kind of maneuver, but it didn't involve a bunch of setup steps that are slower.
Okay.
Like I literally have a list. I'm gonna show you what the list is. I'm gonna read off the steps that I have to do, and this is all within like 6 frames. But it takes like 20 seconds because you're pause buffering in things, but so I have to hold that like really
3 to 5%.
It's called ESS, which is the extended super slide position. So you have to hold that, which is you can't go too far, can't go too little, otherwise you'll lose it. So you have to hold that, which that'll get you into one of the corners. Then you need to buffer in a switch from ESS right to ESS left with the pause buffer, and then you need to pause buffer in untargeting Zelda, and then switch to the other side of the ESS when you unpause. So what that does is you're in the corner and you're sliding. And when you switch and you unpause, it slides you into the other corner, but you're still targeted to her and you're still sliding, but you're not moving. And then after that, you need to retarget Zelda. And there's like there's 4 triangles that like zoom around. That's what shows you what you're targeted on. You need to look at one particular triangle that's timing based, and when it gets up in the corner between her like ear and the crown, then what you have to do is buffer in a target switch, the ESS switch from like left to right, and retarget at the same time. And then when you do that, then you clip through perfectly every time. But the problem is that back in the day, when you didn't do that setup, you would do what was called insta-clip, which is it would just catapult you through into the corner, and 1/8 of the time, 12.5% of the time, you would go through.
But it wasn't.
That wasn't that. It was you'd go through much more often than that, but only 8% of the time would you end up when you like you either void out, which brings you back to the top of the thing because it's like you fell off, you got to restart, or it'll take you to like the
send
success.
you through the corner, but only 12% of the time would it actually put you where you want to go when you clip through the corner.
Yeah, actually, I don't think it's 12%. It's 8%. It's not one out of 8. It's 8%. So even if you pull the trick off, which is fucking super hard to do. Now, granted, that's the one that it's like faster because there's no setup.
Yeah.
But the consistent setup will make it so that if you do it right every single time, which is just so gratifying that like, I love how consistent something like a Nintendo 64, like with its constrained memory and resources and stuff, it might not. Like it might still be buggy and it might be fucked up, but at least it's consistent so that like you can spend all this time learning, and if you find out you can fucking go through the wall and 8% of the time it works, well then the natural progression of your thought process is going to be clearly like 8% of the time it's just a fluke that I'm at the right angle or that I fall. So how can I don't know what that right angle is. Let me try a bunch of arbitrary shit. It's the same thing that people do when they're like, when they discovered the Door of Time skip back in the day. You know how there's the Door of Time that you need to open up with the 3 spiritual stones that you get from Jabu Jabu and Dodongo's Cavern and the Kokiri Emerald, and that's what opens up the Door of Time, which then lets you get the Master Sword, and then you become adult. That was like one of the big major things where it's like, if you want to become an adult, you need to get the 3 spiritual stones, which means you need to kill those, like go to the 3 fucking bosses or the 3 dungeons. It's just a lot of time. So the first major skip was like, could I get through that door? It's just a texture, and you see me clip through fucking everything. So people would just be sitting there for hours a day. Let me line up my head with this pixel on the wall and just backflip a bunch. No, that didn't work. Someone finally figured out a way. Yeah, and then someone eventually figured out a way, and then the reason, or what ends up happening is more often than not, and I still have some more research to do and stuff on this for the video. I'm going to make sure that I'm right with this, but more often than not, things are found by accident, and then when they're found by accident, usually people are recording because they're speedrunning and they need the footage, or they're streaming or whatever, and then people can figure out like, okay, what happened? And then once they figure it out, then there's 2 things that happen. One, you can figure out consistent ways of reproducing it, which is ultimately the same like foundational principle of why people can do blindfolded speedruns. It's all about what's called normalization, to where like when you see me do a setup where like I escape the forest in like 3 minutes, I don't even get the shield, like what I clip through. It's, you see me like roll and then Z target, which then I'm like looking like perfectly east, and then I turn the camera, which makes me so I'm looking perfectly north, and then when I walk towards the wall, and if you side jump and roll, that always has the exact same thing where it puts you looking in a specific angle in a specific place. So when you backflip, sidestep, jump slash on the right frame, you always just clip through the corner and you swim out into the void, and it brings you out into the river where you can just leave early. So normalization is like figuring out, like someone discovered that you can clip through the wall. So it's like, okay, how can I make it so that it's idiot proof? Yeah. Right? You don't just want to slash at it just guessing and hoping. You want to find a consistent algorithm,
Yep. I was wondering that, how like, I bet it makes sense that a lot of this stuff is like found by accident, and then it just essentially proves that it can happen, and then then you start deconstructing, and it's like, well, how do we make that happen? Because I feel like that's easier than, I mean, and I'm sure both happen, but when you're just standing in front of a wall going, how do I clip to this wall? That seems so insurmountable, but like to have somebody accidentally do something, it's like you have that. You're like, I know this is possible. Let me just figure out how it was done. And
then what you do is you deconstruct it, and that adds to the knowledge. But then once you figure out how to do something, usually it gets a fucking name or whatever, and then it gets added to the collective knowledge of like tools that you can use. So later on, when people are like, okay, we know that we can clip through these things, or we know that we can do this, then what you can do is you can take all these arbitrary things that were accidentally found and string them together to do all of these crazy other tricks, right? Like when you see me and I go to fight Goma in the Deku tree, and I do a very specific thing where I have to, you know, stab. Well, actually, you know, it all starts with having to fucking jump slash into the cutscene. So because there's so many cool things that I never knew as a kid, where you know how you can like crouch stab like really quickly, and if you, no matter what you do before that, whatever damage the attack before the crouch stab, whatever attack you do, the crouch stab will do that much damage. So a jump slash with a Deku stick is 4 damage, where just a normal stab is 1. So if you jump slash with a Deku stick and then stab, you've now stored that 4 damage. So it's like all these crazy, weird, arbitrary things, but then that's how you can kill Goma in 3 hits. But then you use this other clipping thing to backflip in, that lets you clip through the door, and so it's just a bunch of crazy fucking arbitrary bullshit that ends up leading to beating the game as an amateur noob speedrunner like me in under half an hour.
And just like you were saying, the knowledge base of everybody, and like every tiny little new information that can be gathered is just like added to a community of people that now, like, I can make that better, I can make that faster, I can add that to this thing that I just discovered, which makes that that's insane. Weren't you saying that there's like actually different like strategies for running it? Is that a thing where it's like actually you can like there's like this strategy to get from beginning to end 80%, or there's this strategy? I felt like it implied where if you make a few decisions early on, you have to commit to like this type of route, but I don't know if that's the way it works.
Totally. So there's two different elements there. There's different categories, and then there's different strategies for each of those categories. So for example, the 5 major categories that I'm breaking down in the video, which is the more common ones, is 100%. Then, so that is, you need to have all the items, all the stones, all the whatever.
Legit.
But that gets broken up into 2 blocks. One is 100% glitchless, and then there's 100%, which is like anything goes. And the difference is like for 4 hours. Like it's literally like, it's either 6 hours and 3 hours. I think it's 6 hours and 3 hours for 100% with glitches and with not. So it's a 3-hour difference. And then there's any percent, and any percent is like just complete the game. You can complete any percentage of the game. I think it might have come from like the old Metroid games. They used to tell you like what your percentage complete was at the end. A lot of the speedrun stuff comes from
way back.
Like a lot of the retro games, like Doom was the first game to have like a fucking par time at the end of a level.
Yep.
That was the first time and then people were like, oh shit, there's a time I can beat.
Yeah.
Because before that there was the concept of like beating games as fast. It was like the high score was a thing, but not really like speed running so much.
Yeah.
But that's kind of an interesting backstory tidbit. But yeah, so there's 100%, there's any percent, and then there's a bunch of other categories. Like one is MST, which is medallion, stones, and trials. So it's basically like, it's effectively all the dungeons.
Okay.
But there is also an all dungeons, but there's some caveats that I forget in there. I have it all written down, but I actually have like all these graphs I've been designing that show like this one's 6 hours, this one's 3 hours, blah blah blah, all the way down to what I'm doing is called kill Ganon or defeat Ganon. So that is do whatever. It doesn't matter what you do as long as you kill Ganon at the end.
Yep.
And the reason why I chose that was, first of all, the route that I chose was the one where, like, Ocarina of Time speedrunning blew up a few years back. It was I think bigger and more popular when this one particular route was happening, where it was like, that was when people found out how to skip from the Deku tree to the collapse, and that used to be the old any percent route before they discovered how to do like memory management shit and bring you to the credits right from like Kokiri Forest, which is how they do it in less than 7 minutes. Literally, Kokiri Forest, you walk around for like 6 or 7 minutes, you do a bunch of random shit, and then the credits roll. And it's all because they're fucking with the memory under the covers.
Oh my god.
That isn't, but it's not sexy. It's not, it's just like, that's when people, and I see both sides of it, because I respect the grind to do this perfect random bullshit that makes no sense, to figure it out. Like, I respect that. But at the same time, I wouldn't sit my dad down. Well, I would sit my dad down because he would understand it, but like not my grandma, you know, or whatever, or like my sister. She wouldn't get it, but she would understand that, like, if you do a bunch of, I'm going from here to Kakariko Village, to grabbing the chickens to get the bottle, to then going to the Deku Tree and clearing out the Deku Tree. But in the middle, I'm like super sliding across the field and like doing these 100%. Cool tricks. And then at the end, I kill the boss as a nice resolution to the plot that feels like you beat the game because you beat the boss, and you know, you also explored a little bit. So that's why I chose this, not because it's the fastest or because it's the best. The route that I chose was to show off the cool shit that I love that got me kind of interested in this at the beginning. But for each category, they all have a bunch of goals, right?
Yep.
There's different ways of achieving different goals. So like the route that I'm doing, in order to, if you work backwards, in order to kill Ganon, you have to get to the collapse. The fastest way to get to the tower collapse is to do the Goma clip through the door. The only way that you can do the Goma clip through the door effectively is you need to have a bottle. Don't worry about why.
I believe you. Yeah.
It all just happened. That's another glitch that basically made it so that if you have a bottle, you do this trick where you backflip, and if you select the bottle, Link, when he lands, is going to do the animation where he pours out, like if you have bugs, it pours out the bugs. So if you backflip and you hit the bottle button, the game is like, okay, as soon as you land, do the animation for the bug. But then if you hit the sword slash button while you're backflipping, something happens in the game that's like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. And when you land, you're holding your sword like an ocarina. And you can play the ocarina, but it's your sword. You never even get the ocarina in the run. But what that does is, you know, when you play the ocarina, the camera kind of goes free and it like zooms around you. So what happens is, you know, the blue warp zone after you kill a boss and you go up and you get teleported out. So if you backflip into like the corner of the warp zone while you do that, what's called ocarina items glitch, the game is like, do a cutscene to teleport you away. Also do a cutscene to keep you here. Like, you have control over your character. So it lets you, it like zooms out and everything is visually fucking weird. And then you have control over your character when you should have been sucked out. So then you can do this very specific thing. I won't get into the details. Very specific, like literally like fucking frame perfect thing where you jump and throw 2 sticks and do whatever. And then when you walk out the door, it's the collapse. It's not the other side of the door.
Gosh.
You're at the collapse. But so you need a bottle to do this trick because you need to do ocarina items. So the way that everybody historically used to do it is the easiest bottle to get is go to Kakariko Village and collect the lady's fucking cuckoos, the chickens.
Oh, yeah.
And give it to her because then she gives you a bottle. But now there are other ways of doing it. Like people do some other shit that involves some crazy memory shit that it doesn't, again, it's one of those things that doesn't make sense if you're watching it, but and in my opinion it's slightly less mass appeal because you start to get into random arbitrary shit where you go to the Deku Tree and rather than go you go to the Deku Tree before you even have a bottle and you like fall down in the hole but like get hit by one of the gold Skulltulas that's on the wall, and what that does at the perfect angle is the death animation makes you clip forward through the wall, and then you're like swimming underwater, but there's no water there. And then I don't even understand it. I've never actually looked into it. I've just seen it done a bunch. And I know how it's done, but I don't know why. Then they like climb back up the thing and then jump back down and they land in the water. And when they come up from the water, you know how like if you pick up an item as Link, you like swim up and it's like, oh, I've got an item. Like he does that and you have the fucking bottle.
That's so
he like
weird.
Finds the bottle in the water when I don't know what happens, but so it's a lot harder to do and it's a little bit more obscure, but it's faster.
Yeah, I totally get that what you mean, where it's like it doesn't at all mean that it's less skill based. Like, you know what I mean? One could argue that it's harder to accomplish because it's a lot less visual stuff. You're like actually messing with the underlying code. But I definitely get that there's like a point of diminishing returns where it's like if somebody was like, oh, I found out that as soon as you get control of Link, if you just go up, up, down, down, left, right, B, B, A, B, A, the credits roll, I hold the record. There's a diminishing return of like,
who the fuck cares now?
Yeah,
who cares, right?
Like that's, you know what I mean? So like I totally get picking a run.
It's the reason why Pokemon speedrunning. I forget the details, but as far as I remember, they used to have an any percent. They probably still do.
Yeah.
But you can basically roll from the menu screen, like from the start menu where you like go to start the game. You just fuck around in the menus, and all of a sudden it'll like roll the. Like Elite Four, you've beaten them and you're getting your reward. So the time is at the end of the Pokemon is just 0, 0, 0. So it's like cool, like great.
It's a cool nifty thing that you figured that out, but I would love finding it. Yeah.
But nobody is gonna grind that out. You know, it's like fuck that.
It's cool though that the speedrunning community like accepts it all though. Like, you know what I mean? It's like cool. Like it's cool that they've broken it down. You know what I mean? So that you can do 80%, you can do dungeons, you can do glitchless, you can do 100. Like it's cool that it's all, because like you said, all of those people, of course, even more than us, would respect the grind that it took to get to like, now I can do it in under 4 minutes. So it's like, you should do that category if anybody wants to do that. But I'm still having fun running the glitchless 100% that takes me 6 hours, and I'm trying to get it down to 5:59. So I think that it's cool that it's all a part of it, and it's not just like this is the official speed run and that's all you can do. You know what I mean?
There are definitely more popular categories than others, but for sure it's really cool because like a lot of times what people will do is they'll set a world record in one category and they're like, now I'm going to spend the next 6 months grinding this other category, and it's like you learn new tricks and there's a new route. And I totally understand, like I've been planning on doing this whole thing where I do a different speed, like a different game every, and now I'm worried that I'm not going to want to stop Ocarina of Time.
Like if you hit your goal, you're going to want to try a different category maybe?
Yeah, like I'm, but I won't be able to like focus on learning, like playing Tarkov and making content and whatever, and also speedrunning 2 games. Like there's no way. Yeah. I mean, I could, but I just wouldn't get good at any of them, But I don't know.
What was the next game you were gonna try?
Got it right over here. Super Mario 64.
I was gonna ask about that because I see Aqua's speedrunning that all the time.
Oh really? I didn't know he's speedrunning that.
I don't know like how serious he is about it, but I like multiple times with the past few weeks I see him playing 64 Super Mario, and he's got the thing up and he's talking about like, ooh, this might be a PB. Like I might. So I think he's been speedrunning. Oh,
sick.
Super Mario.
So I've been. It's so weird how there's a weird now overlap, like a Venn diagram between all of these my favorite YouTubers that I was watching. Originally I found there's like 19 fucking layers of between Kevin Bacon and me here, but I was watching Carl Jobst was one of my favorite guys who covers. He speedruns. He's had records and stuff for GoldenEye and I think Perfect Dark and some other games, and he's done stuff with Doom. But he makes really good like long form essay type, like here's the world record progression of this, or here's how they did this trick, or here's how they got the record for Doom down from this many minutes to 14 seconds. It's really he's really awesome, and he also plays guitar. And so I've just been watching him for a long time. Eventually, I just ended up like showing up in his chat one day and everything, and then now you fast forward and we're kind of like homies.
That's crazy.
I made some music for him, so now my songs are in all of the video. Every time a video comes, so excited, and then all of a sudden I hear my music playing, so it's like
dope.
That's extra cool. But he did a bunch of videos that was like top 10 speedrun moments of 2020, right?
Yep.
So he actually ends up covering a bunch of things, and I remember hearing about a runner named Cheese, who also streams and is also on Twitch. Also on YouTube, who did Super Mario 64. And what he did was, so the like mega category in SM64 is 120 stars. That's all the stars.
Yeah.
That's almost like 100% kind of.
Yeah.
I don't like, I'm sure someone knows more than I do on this, so I'm probably butchering it because I haven't done any research. I just watch it and it's fun.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is that like they do tens of thousands of runs of these games, and like only a small number of them make it to the end, and even a small number of those are like potential for beating your personal best, let alone setting a record, right?
Jeez.
Like you get to the point where you're so good, you can only save a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
So there was an event last year, this is like right before the pandemic hit, called Beat the Record Live, where there was like 5 or 6 speedrunners from SM64 community. Cheese was one of them that got invited, almost like GDQ kind of thing, to where they all competed sitting next to each other to try to, and he fucking beat the world record live at the event, which is like,
that's insane. The odds
and the crazy
of that
part
happening.
was like, whoever wins the event was like $5,000 reward, and if you beat the record, it was like another $5,000. He's like, these next like A button presses are $10,000 button presses. Like if I fuck this up, and it's like spinning around Bowser and making sure you click the button the right time to throw. Like those are the most nervous, like, dude, you know.
What? Imagine what that feels like to beat the world record live, like, because
dude,
the chances of that, like you said, how long is the run? How many times have you done it? How many possible seconds are there to even save? To be able to nail all of that live is
he fucked up like a lot in the beginning. It was just like the ultimate comeback where it was just so fucking well done. And I remember I'd never heard of him, and I never really watched SM64, but it was just, I dipped my feet into this speedrun guy, and then he let me look at, you know, oh, now there's Donkey Kong and Super Mario and all these different names and stuff. And then I don't even remember what it was that happened, but I started watching Cheese when I was looking into the speedrun stuff. I started looking at Super Mario 64, and I just remember, like, that's the guy, because it was super emotional, because he was like, oh my God, you know, like, and then even the fucking casters just got up and walked away. And one guy was like, I'm going to stay here. And he's like, I can't. He's like, you're a legend, dude. I have nothing to say. Everybody was just like fucking blown away. Dude, that's so like insane. This guy was just a legend, right? And then now fast forward, I was watching his fucking last video last week when he was just doing GeoGuessr, like some stream highlights in between Super Mario 64, because he just recently got another world record in the game, so he's like taking a little bit of a break. And even at one point in the video, he pulls up Spotify, and it's my fucking stream safe playlist. Oh my gosh. So, and he's like a VIP in here. I go in all the time. Like, these people are such fucking awesome people in the community. So now it's like he's gonna be my number. You know, he's going to be like my coach, just like Danny B was. And is for Zelda. And then the last little anecdote I'll share here, and then we can wrap up. When I started doing Ocarina of Time speedruns, now I'm in a different category on Twitch. There's all these new names, right? All these. It's a totally different category. So there's a lot of people I don't know. A lot of people that come in and they see me doing stuff, and they assume that I'm like, you know, good. And I'm like, I've done 30 runs. Like, how long have you been speedrunning, bro? I'm like, 4 hours, you know? I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm like, I'm just competent enough at a few things that if you were to watch, you would think that maybe I would like, I might be one of the top contenders. But then if you watch like the 99% of the other things, you can tell I'm a fucking hack, you know, amateur newbie. I could just do this like one backflip trick just as well as these other guys, because it's 3 button presses, and you know, how hard can that be? But doing 8 million button presses consistently in one run without fucking up, that's the hard part, and that's what I'm learning. But so it had a bunch of people that were all like partnered. You know, whenever I see the partner logo on Twitch, I'm always like intrigued, right?
Yeah, of course,
because there's different levels of partners too. Like every now and then I'll click on a partner's name, and there's like 11,000 followers or 6,000 followers or 750,000 followers. You're like, you know, you don't know if they're like a brand new partner, or if they're like, you know, really big in a community or wherever. And I just remember this is so, I got to share this fucking terribly embarrassing moment where well, it's not that embarrassing, but it's just, it's funny. Like, it's this, on a scale of 0 to ultimate cringe, it's like a 1.
Okay.
Where my Nintendo almost just fell. Oof. Sorry, that scared me. It's haunted. To where so someone came in here, Richard Sage, who had the partner logo, and I just remember being like, oh cool, you know, because he'd come a few times, and he would basically just say, he'd lurk, and he would say like, good luck on the runs. And it was like, oh cool, he's probably like a streamer, and you know, in the category, whatever. And then I remember randomly one day, it was yesterday actually, when I was trying to learn that crazy insta clip at the end that it took me 3 hours to do it once. But that was just learning how it worked. Like those notes I read from was from that guy. And at one point somebody was like, oh shit, like, are you the world record holder? And I'm like, no, it says on my splits thing. I'm like, it's 1644 by Richard Oh, it's that guy, the guy who come in and was like, God. And I fucking put that in my thing, my splits of like listing out the world record is this time by this guy. And I just never put 2 and 2 together that like, oh, that's the fucking dude whose run I've watched 700 times.
Guy.
It was just so funny. I was like,
have you seen him since?
I literally responded like, no, I don't have I mean, it was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It was like 10 hours ago. And he hung out and someone gifted him a sub. He's the one that walked me through for like 2 hours last night, the trick. He was like, you got to do this pixel and this. And it was like, it's just a fucking great community. Like,
that's cool.
And it's funny how welcoming they are because I know that he's not worried about me being competition, but that's effectively what you're doing is training the people who are going to beat your records.
Yeah.
So it's so fucking, I mean, I guess you could say that about Tarkov. Like when you do guides, you're teaching people to fucking beat you in PvP.
Yeah, to be better at PvP, yeah.
But it's just so fucking cool that all these people who are like legends that are all just willing to hop into some rando dude's stream and help them. It's so cool.
And that's cool. Like after talking with Danny B, like I'm glad that we were able to do that podcast and I was able to kind of like talk with him about it because after talking to him, it feels like it's like as much as it would suck having your world record taken, I'm sure that a part of it's like we want more brains on this coming up with more tricks and more things and more optimization
and pushing us
because it pushes the whole thing forward. You know what I mean? Like that's so it's cool that that's the overall attitude. But if there's one person you'd expect that attitude not from, it's the world record holder. So it's even more cool that he's in there like, yo, good luck on the runs. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's like kind of like, you know, Michael Jordan walking up to a kid doing free throws and giving him some pointers.
Hey, good luck.
You know, yeah, sure, he might get into, you know, he might. Well, Michael Jordan retired, but bad analogy, but yeah. So I don't know. It was super fucking cool. And it's like really super humbling, and it's exciting.
And I bet it's cool to be in a category where you're not among the most knowledgeable, but you flip that, like, you know what I mean? Like in Tarkov, like there's so much you've like bled out of Tarkov, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's asserted you as like, you've got tons of YouTube and stuff, but just a different experience to be in a category where it's like new names, new faces, new people maybe throwing you a raid or new people to raid, new people coming in, and now you're the one with everything to learn. Like, yeah, as somebody, I think we're both that way. As somebody who just
backseat me, baby,
likes to continually always be learning about something new. Like, I'm sure that that's just like a cool. When you're playing Tarkov, it's more just like doing the thing. You know what I mean? But
yeah, and there's so many aspects of this that I'm excited to highlight that aren't obvious, from like the tiny little mechanical things to the tricks that people are doing when they're so good at them. It makes it look so easy. You don't realize that while he's reading chat, he's backwalking and counting the frames based on the of the thing, and you know, like they just know the timing, but you don't realize it. You just think it must be easy, right? Because he's not doing anything. No, he's doing 20 more things than you even know.
Yep. While talking to you and answering your message.
And it's still easy for him.
Yeah.
But so then there's that aspect, but then there's also, I did one run that was different than all the rest of the runs. Now, because I'm using a practice ROM and I have save states, and so none of my runs, even if I broke the world record, they wouldn't matter. It wouldn't be official anyway, because I'm on a fucking hacked ROM. Like effectively, it's good for practicing. For sure. But like as soon as I can't submit runs until I get the Japanese cart. I could do it in my American version, but there's like 3 minutes more of text scrolling. So it's like it would just be impossible. But the one time I had the 2458 run from the dude who like, I'm like, oh, this guy's bonking all over the place and making all these mistakes side by side with me, to where rather than my webcam, I had his run and I hit play at the same time. And it was like my fucking heart was racing, dude. And I just was looking over. It was like looking in your rearview mirror playing Mario Kart.
That's it was funny.
It was a totally different world, and I was fucking up, and the pressure was on, and you see like you're walking in the same pixels, and then all of a sudden you see like he does something, and now he's ahead of me, and I'm like, no, and then you pull ahead, and
that's actually really cool.
So that's a taste of, I'm sure.
Yep.
I'm sure it's going to be completely different when I'm actually in the real show, you know, like trying to do a run where if I fuck this trick up, I go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't get to because now I get to reload a save state, which adds time, it would be longer than if I had done it right. But now it's like, how many things am I going to get to where I do 10 minutes and the trick fails?
Yep.
And then I just restart. 10 minutes and the trick fails, 10 minutes and the trick fails, 10 minutes. And then you just get frustrated with, like, I don't want to collect the fucking cuccos anymore. I want to do the rest of the shit, you know? So
yeah, that's dude.
Who knows how many runs I'll do. I have like 88 runs right now.
That's cool, man.
And you look at those guys and they all have a run counter. It's like 11,420. You're like,
that's
oh God.
out of control.
I'm such an idiot, like that I think I'm going to be able to beat sub 20 minutes and whatever. Like, I don't know, the hubris. It's what keeps you going, though. That's dope. That's cool, man. Yeah. It's really cool that it's been going good. That's super exciting. I mean, yeah, it's just, I totally get that. It just feels good and fresh to be doing something good and fresh. That's fun. That's why, dude, you stopped by the other day. I was like jamming on some Valheim. Like, that's like the new hot thing, but it's just like, it's just fun, man. It's just we'll have to talk about Valheim next time, because I'm in the phase where, like, I don't get it,
dude.
But I was like that at one point when hearing about Tarkov, and I was playing PUBG. I'm like, it sounds, you just run around and loot. It sounds fucking pointless. And so
it's very understandable, because the first whole like 2 weeks of me watching people play it, I was in that exact same thing. Like, it was like 7 or 8 times I clicked on streams, and it was just like
cutting trees down and walking around,
or like building floors, and I was like, what? But
I've never even seen that. Oh shit, there's building floors. You just made it 3 times more interesting than it was before.
It's crazy base building, bro.
It was like the first 7 minutes of every game of DayZ or Rust, where it's like, just look around for a fucking rock so you can make it.
I think that's what it is that like every time I'd click on a stream, it was that streamer's first time playing. So I just kept seeing the somewhere in the first hour over and over again. And you're like, what the hell? But now, dude, if you like see Sequisha Live or somebody like that playing, click on it, dude, and you're like, whoa, like, it's great. Like, portals teleporting you and like multiple bases and building, Viking longboats to sail to new islands and explore boss fights. Like, dude, it gets crazy. So yeah, I'd love to talk about it. I'm in it. Like, it's been super fun. It's been super fun.
Yeah.
So
dope.
Well, cool. Yeah, that sounds good. You wanna
go find a fucking
take me to the badge and the fire steel.
Take me to church. Let's go.
Yeah, if you want to hop onto Zelda or something at any point, but I'm game. I'm game.
Yeah. Let's do a few runs.
Okay, we'll see how it goes. Maybe after the first like 2 or 3, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna play some Valheim.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and see. You'll find out on next week if there's no episode or not. That's if we succeeded and we break up the band.
Yeah. But well, cool. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you everyone live here for chilling and everything. We are back to doing it every week, which is feeling really good. There's still a few people. I still get people that don't know that we have the new channel, which is understandable, because if you miss it here, it would just stop doing it. So we'll probably be spamming that for a while, but we do have a dedicated YouTube channel for the podcast. Please go subscribe there. That's going to be a launching point for some cool other content that we want to do in the future too, which is exciting. So subscribe that. The video version of this will be there most likely on Monday, and Spotify and all those places soon. So thank you guys for hanging with us. We'll see you next week, and thanks for stopping by.
Peace.